Hey, giggly witches, we're back with another episode. Episode what? I just said it. 39
And
slash
206.
206. It's me, your girl, Sadie. And over here we have
Pammy cakes.
Pammy Cakes. Your girl, Pammy Cakes. We have been classically talking for half an hour before we clicked recording. But we're really excited. We're going to do an episode today about the pineal gland and the third eye, which is, I love nerding out about this stuff, like the science behind the magic. Why is that gland in our brain connected to the third eye and the sort of spiritual world? So we'll get into that.
Me too. I was thinking that we should actually do a whole series on chakras. Like we should just...
Oh yeah, we should go through each one.
Yeah.
Universal laws theory, chakra theory. Love, love, love. Okay,
Yeah.
we're starting with the third eye.
Yeah.
I love it. But you know what we have to do before we do that? We have to have...
Silly Goofy time. I was trying to come up with a song really quick in my head on how I could sing it, but I couldn't. It didn't come fast enough.
No, I don't got it.
No,
I was trying to think of a melody from like Veggie Tales. I felt like there was something there, but it's not popular. It's not coming. It's back here. It's not coming here.
I was not on the Veggie Tales train.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, where is my hairbrush? Remember that one? We could do.
No.
Oh, where silly goofy
I'm telling
time.
you, I don't know anything about Veggie Tales except
What
for
was
that
the other
it's
good
like
one?
a Catholic show, Christian Catholic show.
It is?
Yes.
Oh, I don't remember that, but I guess that makes sense. I grew up. Did we watch it at school? I don't even remember where. Did I watch it at home? I don't know. I don't remember that. Oh,
I feel
yeah.
like that was kind
Okay,
of
they were
after,
dressed as like Moses and stuff. The tomato. I have a vision of the tomato dressed as Moses. I don't even know if that happened. I just feel like I see that in my mind's eye.
I'm gonna Google it.
Veggie Tales. Like vegetables. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud here. Okay, we're gonna Google Veggie Tales. Oh, yeah, because I remember the David and Goliath one. Okay, yeah, they would do the Bible stories, but then there would be really random, goofy ones in the middle, and those are the ones I always remembered, like the "Oh, Where Is My Hairbrush" song. It's so cute. It's a really good show.
Here. One of my favorite like memes is the little cartoon somebody drew of Moses parting the Red Sea, and then there's like a little fish, and he's like got a little briefcase, and then his fish boss in the next slide is like, "You're late again." He was like, "You're never gonna believe what happened."
What am I supposed
You're not
to
gonna
do?
believe it.
You're never gonna believe what happened. That's so funny. Veggie Tales. How did we start talking about that?
Because I was talking about making a silly goofy song, and then you started.
We will come up with something for next week.
Yeah.
To the melody of a Veggie Tales song. Apparently. Okay. Wait, do you have something for silly goofy time?
It's not really silly goofy, just kind of like one of those like really crazy like spiritual things that happen, you know what I mean?
Ooh, okay. Yeah.
So I actually should have pulled up a photo, but I had a mediumship client last week, and she had mentioned like something about birds being really like special to her. And I always do my mediumship sessions with Hecate, so I had her candles lit, and after I like closed the session with my client, I went over to the altar to like thank Hecate and like turn off the candles and everything. And the way the wax melted,
was it like a bird?
I don't know if you can see it. It looks like a bird.
Wow.
Like in flight.
Oh,
so
wow.
crazy. Do you see?
I feel like I need to see closer up to actually see the bird.
Like, I don't know if you can...
Wait, can you point to it?
Like... Like
What part of the
this,
picture am I looking at? Oh,
this.
I was looking at the ground at the
Oh no,
drippings.
like
That's why I was struggling. Okay.
like
That,
do you see
oh
like
yeah, that
this?
looks like a bird. Okay, I wasn't even looking at that. That's why I was like, can you point at it? That looks like a bird. That's crazy. That looks
Isn't
like
that so
a straight up
crazy?
bird. Yeah.
I was like, I took a photo of it and messaged her, and I was like, this is literally one of the craziest things
Put a bird on it.
Like that was so crazy. So
How? Wait, I wanted to share this last week, but I forgot. But okay, this is for us. We'll have to revisit this later to figure out what this meant, okay? But I
okay.
want to put this out into the universe ahead of time. So, on Saturday mornings, I love going to this yoga class. It's a
Mm-hmm.
yin and flow. And then at the end, the teacher always does just a little bit of Reiki on everybody. Like she goes one by one. And I've been going, I don't know, probably like 3 or 4 times now. It's every Saturday. It's the best. I love the girl's energy. She's amazing. Whenever she does the little Reiki thing, it feels so good. And okay, not this last week, but the week before this happened. Okay. So when she did me, um, she always, I don't know, she kind of like massages your head a little bit. And then she always ends by pressing on the third eye. And excuse me, so 2 weeks ago when she did it, when she pressed on my third eye, I wasn't thinking anything about this, okay? This was completely out of nowhere. It was not connected to anything. I don't know, my mind was pretty blank, honestly, at the time. She presses on my third eye, and I see so clearly like a baby, almost like it like as if I'm looking at like an ultrasound picture, like that kind of image of a baby, like an in utero baby,
Yeah.
like it's growing. And so, and it was so clear, and I felt this rush of like emotion, like just like pure love, like just a baby energy,
Mm.
And it was so vivid, and it was so out of nowhere. I wasn't thinking about babies. I don't know. Like so I'm just putting this out there because she hasn't. I'm like, maybe she's pregnant.
I was just gonna say, is she pregnant?
That's what I think. But I'm not gonna ask her. I'm not gonna do
Yeah.
a Long Island medium and be like, sorry, you pressed my third eye. And that's a terrible accent. But and so I'm hoping, I'm waiting. I'm like, this past weekend she mentioned something about her and her boyfriend doing something. So I was like, okay, so she has a boyfriend. So she could be.
Yeah.
She's with someone. So that's for us to circle back on. Or I had a client later that day. But it was a man, so I don't know. Maybe he's gonna get somebody pregnant.
Yeah. I feel like you always have like baby things.
I connect with baby energy very strongly.
Yeah. You are baby.
I am baby. I am baby. I love babies. I don't know if I want my own babies, but like when I see babies, I'm like, come here, I love you. I love babies.
Yeah.
So anyways,
I like being able to hand them back.
It's really nice to be able to go, okay,
Yeah.
here you go.
Here you go.
All done for me, all done. Here you go. Love you, love the baby, but all done. So I'm putting that out there. Timestamp, recording Monday, May 5th. One of these Saturdays, if she announces she's pregnant, I will come back here and let all of you know.
Yeah. That's crazy.
We'll circle back on that. But it was so vivid and so clear. And it was just out of nowhere,
Well, you did also have like a bunch of new ideas that you were just talking about on Friday.
I did, yeah. Maybe that was my baby.
Your baby.
You guys are
not
all my
a literal
babies.
Baby, but yeah.
No, it was definitely a literal baby.
Yeah.
It was so. It was like as if I could see how far it had grown already, or something. I feel like. Well, it was pretty formed, and she doesn't look pregnant, but I don't know. Anyways, putting that out into the universe because you said that.
Yeah. So crazy.
That was cool.
There's I don't know why that made me think of this, but I remember we were like in the Bahamas a really, really long time ago, and did the like dolphin thing because I love dolphins. And
I saw dolphins yesterday. They're actually mating right now. Have you ever seen dolphins mating?
No.
It is an orgy. It's crazy. They're going around in circles. It's like they create a whirlpool and they're all having sex. I saw that yesterday happening. So baby soon.
I haven't seen them here yet, but I haven't been like I've only been early once.
Mm.
And there were already like surfers out there, so I don't know. I was like, maybe they're kind of like scattered now.
I don't know. I think there's always been, almost every time I go over across the street to the ocean, there's almost always dolphins you can spot. I think there's just a pod that like lives off of this coast, and they're always there.
I've also never seen them at like this beach anytime I've come here. They're always at a different, like in a different
we're lucky
area.
Like they're literally always there. And like I remember from living here before, you see the mate, and then I think at the end of the summer there's little baby, and you see them going like this through the water, but you see the like mommy and baby doing it together, and it's so cute.
So cute.
I was crying yesterday when I saw them. I was like,
I love that.
They're making love. So stupid.
I
was listening to love songs in my headphones and walking on the beach and watching dolphins, and I was like, it's so beautiful.
So beautiful.
They love each other.
Very
They're just like animals, like fucking trying to...
Yeah. They're like, this is the circle of life.
This is
but there was this lady that was pregnant. Well, she didn't know she was pregnant. That was a spoiler. There was this lady and the dolphins kept circling around her and like wouldn't like leave her side. And one of the instructors was like, I'm sorry to pry, but are you pregnant? Because this is like usually why they would do this. And she was like, no, not pregnant. And then she left, and then left the, like, when we finished the thing, she like left the the thing and like bought a pregnancy test at the hotel, and then was like, oh yeah, no, I'm pregnant.
That's how I want to find out I'm pregnant, if I'm ever pregnant.
Yeah, they're crazy. Crazy.
If I'm ever trying for a baby, I'm going to be like, I got to go in the ocean every day. I'll be like, babe, I'll be right back. I'm just going to go take a pregnancy test, but it's just me going into the ocean to see if the dolphins come by me.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's so crazy, though. They like
people do dolphin
so smart.
Births.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's crazy to me. But
sounds a little scary, but I respect it.
Yeah. 100%.
To be like, what if I lose the baby?
I know. Like, what happens with it?
I know they help or whatever, but I'm like, I don't know.
But yeah, so they're just so smart, and I love them so much.
They're beautiful creatures.
Oh my gosh. That you talking about crying made me think of, I had to kind of have another silly goofy I forgot about. There was this TikTok, you know that trend right now where it's like, tell me the most whatever to whatever kind of thing, like tell me the most unhinged advice, or tell me the craziest whatever.
Yeah.
There's this girl that was like, this is for my sensitive girls. Tell me the most ridiculous thing that you've ever cried at. And everyone was commenting all of these, and then I just commented on it and was like reading these comments. Like, I'm crying reading the comments.
I'm trying to think, because I cry at everything. Not like full on sobbing, but I tear up about everything.
No, it was like,
way.
Yeah.
Probably just like eating really good food that I'm just like, oh my God, I can't believe this exists.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things that has made me full on cry, happy tears streaming down my face. This is one of my favorite memories of my life. That wasn't that long ago. When I was in South Korea and I was on Jeju Island, and there was a bunch of, I don't really know what was going on. I was in Korea. I don't speak the language. I can't read the signs, but this is what it seemed like what was going on. Karaoke is really big there. In a lot of Asia it is. And but they had set up in this park with it's a beautiful green open park, and there's the ocean behind it. Okay, it's so beautiful. They had set up a microphone in the park and like a screen for it was karaoke in the park, and it was all of these really, really, really old people. But so, I mean, me and my cousin were there together, and we just sat and we watched it for hours, because no one was a good singer, really. I mean, there's a couple people that were pretty good, but it was just the joy of singing. And there was these ladies, these just the most beautiful old ladies So old. And they're dressed in their best clothes. They have full glam on, okay? Like they're in like full on like what would be so stylish in like I feel like the 80s.
Okay.
Okay, like matching like pantsuits, sparkly brooches, like high heels. They're just dressed to the nines and they're in a group going up to all sing together and they're having so much fun. And you could just like this happens a lot when I'm in groups, especially with music, when you just the joy that and the fun people are having and the connect like them being connected, singing together. And I was just sobbing. I was like, I could be anywhere in the world, but I'm here tonight watching these beautiful old ladies sing in Korean. I don't know what they're singing, but I know they're having a really good time. I was sobbing.
Sadie's like that scene in The Office where Pam is like, I feel God in this chili sty.
I feel God in this karaoke in the park.
South Korea park singing karaoke.
It was the most beautiful thing I've ever. It was one of the best nights of my whole life, I swear to God. And then after that, my cousin is a scuba diver. And she had gone scuba diving and we were right by the dive shop and all of the guys they had dove with were like out drinking and hanging out. And so we walked past there and then she was like, oh hey guys. And so then we went and like we're like drinking and talking to everybody and it was like just one of those nights where just like you don't expect anything to happen. Like we were just going for a walk and then go back to our hotel. We see the karaoke on the park. We run into people and we make friends and we hang out with them all night and like have drinks and laugh and joke. And it was just
beautiful.
One of my favorite days of my life.
Yeah.
I think about those little old ladies all the time. I'm like, what are they up to? I hope they're still singing in the park, you know?
Yeah.
To find some. I have so many videos of it on my phone. I have to find it. But that's my favorite thing I've ever cried at. Probably. It was full on stuff. What's your favorite thing you've ever cried at?
I don't even know. I cry so much.
Yeah.
I can't even remember. But I'll read you some of these comments.
Oh yeah. Share some.
The Mars rover singing happy birthday to itself.
Joking. That's a little bit that's
kind of sad. Did you ever see Inside Out?
Mm-hmm.
This girl says Bing Bong when Bing Bong says goodbye.
I cried at that part too.
I'm
gonna start thinking about all this stuff. No, we can't do this right now. We can do this at the end.
When Stitch says, I'm lost.
No.
This one is kind of funny. It says, I cried because I warmed up a bowl of soup without realizing we had no bread in the house to eat it with.
Oh.
Oh God, no, I can't do that one. This one has to do with Brother Bear, so I'm just gonna do the entirety of the Brother Bear movie. Have you ever seen?
I don't know if I've seen that, and now I'm not going to. If you're gonna cry,
don't do it.
Definitely. Oh my God, Fox and the Hound.
Oh no. No.
Oh God. Oh, this is the end of the episode. I can't do it. I gotta go cry. Wait, okay, let's think about some happy things that make us cry. Find some happy ones in there. You can't do this.
I know, I'm trying. A lot of these
Bring me back, Pam. Bring me back. You did this.
A lot of these are sad.
Oh no.
Oh, this one says when Domino's gave me cinnamon twists instead of garlic knots.
That would make me cry. I love the garlic knots. Fuck those cinnamon twists. No, they're both really good. But if I was expecting garlic and I get that. I'm a big fan of Domino's. By the way.
Okay, the rest of these are kind of sad, so I'm going to close this now. But
okay, but this was something we were talking about earlier to bring us all back. Okay, this is an ick that Pam and we're just going to say it and move on. Grown men drinking milk.
Yeah. Like
No,
a glass of milk.
you can't do that.
Not allowed.
I drink milk in my coffee. That's fine. But just a plain glass. One of my
Like a
friends from high
full
school, I don't know if
glass.
she still does it, but we would go out to eat and like everyone would get like, oh, I'll have a Pepsi or whatever. She would order a glass of chocolate milk. And we were like, you can't.
You know, at least
you're an
it's a
adult,
chocolate milk. You know what I
fine.
mean?
But that's still like a
Glass of milk.
that doesn't have coffee in it or something.
No.
That's crazy. Sorry, I don't know. There's just I love a large latte. I'll drink it. That's the same amount of milk as a glass of milk, but it's different.
Yeah. Different
Grow up.
content. Yeah. I will
Put some
say, just
coffee in it,
because
put some
you
hair on your chest. Grow up.
said Pepsi or something, so another one along that same theme, this girl had said, give me your most like unhinged hacks for dealing with POTS because I need some help. So I read through all the comments, and this one girl was like, I can't explain it, but I drink 1 can of Dr. Pepper every day, and it regulates my symptoms. So I've done it. This is the 2nd day. I'm still like a little tired, but I like haven't had any, like I haven't been symptomatic today or yesterday after drinking it.
Because POTS is connected to your hydration and stuff, so I feel like this would be connected maybe. That I just saw someone post about how I'm like, I already knew this because I would always get a Sprite when I was hungover and I'd always feel better. And also my grandma, when I was sick, would get me Sprite specifically. But it said like they studied it and it's shown that Sprite can help relieve hangover symptoms. And so I thought of you and I was like, so I wonder if it would help with POTS for whatever's in it that helps. Because hangovers are just extreme dehydration, really.
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, I wonder, so you could try Sprite too.
I could try Sprite. I do love Dr. Pepper.
Permission to drink soda.
Yeah.
Sick.
So, and I bought like, you know, the mini cans.
I love Dr. Pepper.
I did the mini cans.
Nice.
So far, so good. We'll see if it sticks.
If it sticks. Okay, I had 2 things I was going to talk about.
Okay.
One is silly goofy because last week we talked about like doing what you need to like shift the energy, you know, like that was our theme. And it was so interesting. So this past week I've been like fully moving in to my new place.
Yes.
And I'm sleeping in there now. It's official.
Yay.
There's still no furniture, but I have a mattress and a bed and the basics. I just can't decide what furniture I'm having trouble with that. But anyways, I don't want to rush into it, you know?
Yeah.
Doesn't really matter. I'm good. But anyways, I fully cleared out my storage unit, went through everything. And I was so excited for this day. I was like, ooh, a new wardrobe, all this stuff. And I really didn't save much, but it was so interesting. I got super overstimulated. I got super anxious. I felt terrible. I was having an existential crisis after I unpacked everything.
Oh my God.
It was like too much stuff, even though it wasn't that much. My wardrobe, there was a couple things, but I was like, I'm getting rid of all of this. I hate it all. It was so unexpected. I was like, whose is this? This isn't mine. It was like a different, it was a lifetime ago.
Yeah.
It is. My styles changed a little bit and it was really interesting. It was not the experience I expected it to be, but I had like a day where I unpacked everything and like I had fun doing it and going through everything or whatever. But then that night I felt really heavy. And then the next day I couldn't even go in to my place. Like I was like, what have I done? I was like having an existential crisis. I was like, no. It's too much. It's too much stuff. I can't have a home. Like I was having this thing and I was feeling so heavy and disconnected from my stuff, from the place, whatever, that I was so excited for. Yeah. And then guess what I did? I did a huge aggressive smoke cleanse. I mean, I smoked that place.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this is my home. I love it here. I'm so happy. It was like night and day instantly. It was so funny. So it just made me laugh because I was like, I just had to like literally cleanse the energy.
Yeah.
Like unpacking all that stuff. It was like, I was really unhappy when I packed that all up. I was going through a really intense breakup. I was I was, I was heartbroken. I was going through a lot. My life was very heavy. I was going through a breakup for a reason, like that was a long time of like struggling with stuff. And so I think it was almost like like Pandora's box, like
Yeah.
unleashing it all. And I was like, wham.
Yeah.
And I was feeling like all of those things I felt back then almost.
That's what I was gonna say. It sounds like you were just like
I literally
that energy is still like clinging to it.
Yeah.
And then it was also like sitting in a place with a bunch of other people's stuff and their energy and things like that. And you're in a new place too, so like it always has its own energy.
Yeah, because I was like, well, I'm used to living in Airbnbs. Like, it doesn't, like, why do I have the ick right now? That was why.
Yeah.
So I did a huge smoke cleanse, and now I'm like so happy and so excited. I have like little bits of stuff set up. It needs a lot of work still, but I'm fully moved in. The other cute thing, so Boo's not in there with me yet because I don't have
you don't have
barely anything for her to like sit on and chill on and whatever. Obviously my bed, but she likes to look out the window. There's nothing high enough for her to see out the window and stuff. So she's staying here at Craig's place for now still. I'm in here right now because my internet's not set up. He's gone. But since I started sleeping over there, every time I come over here to get something, to do something, she's like never, she's already a very cuddly cat, but she's just like, oh my God, like she's all over me. She won't leave me alone. And I feel a little bit bad because I'm like, oh no, she thinks I'm leaving again, but I'm always also like, oh, you left me so much. I'm like, don't worry, I'm not leaving again. She's on my lap right now. She like will not leave my side. She's aggressively cuddling me, like looking me in the eye. I'm like, don't worry, I'm just right next to her.
Until I leave again, but that's for another time.
Hopefully you come with me next time. So that was funny. I was like, oh yeah, duh. So I had a day where I was processing all of that, but it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
And then I also wanted to talk about this. It's not really silly goofy, but I went to a Korean spa this weekend. This is just the theme, I guess, of this week. All my stories is talking about the ladies. But have you ever gone to one? Okay. So I had never gone to one until I was like in South Korea, but then since I've been back, I love to go because they're the best. But for anyone that hasn't been to one, you go in and there's a men's side and a woman's side, and there's a whole like spa area that's you're just naked. You take a shower, and then there's different like jacuzzis, but like they're like different temperatures. There's a cold plunge usually, and then there's like steam saunas. And then, so you'd spend time there, and I just always call it the naked part. It probably has a different name. And then they give you everyone these like matching shorts and t-shirts. The least sexy things you could ever put on. I love it. They're like these big.
Yeah.
And then you go and there's a co-ed area and there's dry saunas there. A lot of them will have different like crystal rooms. So there'll be a salt room. So it's just like you lay on like all these like salt, like not salt like grains of salt, but like big rocks, like pink salt pebbles, and the walls will be bricks of salt, and you lay in there and it's like a hot like dry sauna, like laying on the salt. Or there's like jade rooms, or there's all these different, it's the best. It's so magical. And then there's like food and stuff too, and you can just spend, and a lot of them are open 24 hours. There's sleeping rooms, it's just the best. It's such a vibe. I hadn't been to one for a while, but I went this weekend, and this was the first time that I went into like the naked part by myself, because it's a little vulnerable. Like you're like, oh my God, everyone's naked, it doesn't matter. It's it's all whatever, everyone's got the same stuff.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. But I usually with a friend or like, someone I know. But it was just me. And I was like, okay, I get social anxiety. And I'm like, and I was also a new place I hadn't been before. It wasn't a spa that I've, been to before. But I was like, I got this, so I get naked, I go in there, whatever. But the Korean spa, especially the naked part, but I think the other part too, but especially the naked part, is the most like healing place to go. Because when it comes to like the body and body image, because I don't think there's anywhere else in the world that, well, maybe somewhere similar. I know different cultures have similar things, but where you don't feel looked at, you don't feel sexualized in any way. It's like no one is sucking in or, ow, Boo just put her claw in my leg. Nobody's like trying to suck in or sit a certain way so they look good. Nobody's self-conscious in there. Everybody's just naked. And it doesn't matter. And there's everyone of different ages and different body types, and nobody cares and nobody feels self-conscious. Like it's just as I've never been in such a like neutral like space and be totally naked and it just not matter. You know what I mean? Like I don't know how to describe it, but I cannot emphasize enough how wonderfully healing these places are. And then even when you go into the co-ed area and everyone's just got on the same like t-shirt and shorts and everyone's just sweaty and you know, like no makeup and like clean, you know, you're all clean because you did the jacuzzis and stuff. And it's just like, it's such a wonderful energy. Like it's just the best energy at these places. So if you have one in your town and you haven't gone, you should go. It's amazing. It's a little intimidating because you're like, oh, you know, or at least it was to me at first, but it's just the best. I just have never felt like that anywhere else. Like when you're at the beach, even with your girlfriends, there's men looking. Or there's, or it might be even women too. There's people looking at you. And you know, you might feel like, oh, I should suck in, or oh, I should lay on my towel a certain way so it doesn't emphasize this part of my body, or like I don't know, you're thinking like that of like you're thinking about other people. And like I don't know, when I go into these places, at least for me, and it just feels like other people feel this way. This is the impression that I get. The intuitive feeling is just like no one's wondering what the person over there is thinking when they look at you, you know? And everyone's just hanging naked out. And it's the best. I love going with girlfriends and being, let's just be naked and chat shit in the tub. Like it's the best. There's no closer bond you can have. So I did that this weekend and I was like, I gotta spread the word. If you guys aren't going to the Korean spa, you gotta go. It's the best. It's so healing.
Do they have like not hot stuff?
It's mostly, you know, it's mostly like saunas, jacuzzis.
Okay, I can't do it then.
But there's like, you know, they have different temperatures. So there's like the warm pool and then the hot and then the very hot and then the cold. So, but if you can't do and then there's different, the saunas are all different temperatures too. So there's like really, really hot and then it goes down. But that's most of what it is.
Not for us, if you have pots.
But the best, man, I hadn't been one to a while. I was like, gosh, I love this. I love this. The best.
Very nice.
Yeah. Okay, should we get into our topic for today?
Yes.
We're going to talk about the third eye and our pineal gland. Pam, start us off. What do you got?
Well, I was going to say you have the master class on it if you want to just...
I did. If you want to access this full master class, we're going to go through it all here. But this is, I guess, an example of the kinds of classes that are in my Coven membership. But okay, so I love studying the pineal or the pineal gland. I hear it said both ways. I don't know the right way to say it.
I'm pretty sure you just said it the exact same way twice.
Pineal or no, pineal or pineal. I don't know. People say it different.
There was one time I was a freshman in college and I was walking to class. And there was this girl on her phone. She's like getting out of her car. She was like, whatever, tomato, tomato.
Tomato, tomato. I've always said that.
And I was like, girl, you're so close. That was not it.
Pineal, okay. Pineal, or pineal, something.
I'm pretty sure it's pineal gland.
Pineal gland. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But, okay, so this is an organ in our brain.
Yes.
It's a
Teeny
gland.
tiny
It's a little
in
organ.
the center of our brain.
It looks like a pine cone, hence
Pine.
pineal.
Yeah.
Pine. So it's been referred to in many ways. So it's also connected to our third eye, which of course we think about this spot like on our forehead, but it's really a gland in the middle of our brain. It's said to be a gateway to our higher self. It's almost like it's like our satellite or our radio tower to like the divine, our connection to the universe.
Like an antenna.
Yeah. So it's said to be it's referred to as like the seat of the soul. It's basically said to be our connection between the physical and the spiritual world. So we have this physical body, but of course we have consciousness. And it's like the seat of that consciousness. That's what it's said to be.
Yeah, that was you probably learned about, at least we learned about this in like history, but like Rene Descartes. He's the one that said that, the seat of the soul.
Oh, okay. Okay. So when we go through like so everyone here, if you're listening, you're spiritual in some way. Maybe not exactly the same way as all of us, but it's said that our pineal gland also has to do with our circadian rhythm, right? Yeah. And so it has a purpose besides this like spiritual part. But it's said to kind of like lie dormant until, you know, we've experienced a spiritual awakening in some way. And it's said that, you know, then we begin to see the world more clearly and we form our own perspective of like our own spiritual significance and like our connection between like our physical and spiritual self, our physical and our universal, the collective consciousness. So it's, you know, there's a lot about like activating your third eye, right? But I really believe it's if you are somebody that has a connection to, whether you think it's strong or not, but you're spiritual, that means your third eye is already activated. You don't you're already there. And yeah, like we can open it up more, we can strengthen our trust in it, those things, but I am of the belief that if you're here and you have a spiritual connection in some way, that means that your third eye is already activated. There's a lot of like activate the third eye. But it's been activated to an extent if like you have that spiritual connection for yourself.
Yeah, I think honestly, like if you are alive and a human and you have a soul, it's already open. It's already open and available to you. You just need to like establish a connection to it. And kind of like it might just be like a little cluttered. Like it's like when you're like kind of like trying to clean up your room, trying to find something, that's the same kind of like image in my brain. When you're just like trying to clean up the third eye a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, so here's my science facts. I'm gonna rip into them.
Rapid fire them.
Tiny organ, roughly the size of a pea or a raisin. Love. Yes. Sits at the geometric center of your brain, shaped like a pine cone. This is why it's referred to as our third eye. When you cut it in half, it looks like an eye. It's sensitive to light. It is not protected by the blood-brain barrier system. It connects the endocrine and nervous systems. It regulates our melatonin secretion. And it's an endocrine organ that helps regulate your daily and seasonal circadian rhythms. So that's your sleep-wake patterns, which is interesting because I find when I wake up really early, like when I'm not supposed to, when I have big downloads. Like last week, Pam and I worked together on Fridays now, and I was like, yeah, I've been up since 4 because I woke up and I was like, ideas. And I'm like, it's all connected, our sleep and all of that. So this is so cool. So I wish we could easily like show pictures on here. This is on my computer right now, but maybe you guys can bring to mind, you know, the eye of Horus. That's what the pineal gland looks like when you cut it in half. So it has
it's more like that's what it looks like when you like place it onto the brain. Like it looks like where like the pineal gland is, and then like the
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when
surrounding
you
brain
if you do
structures.
like a side
Oh,
view
the
of
brain
the
in
brain.
half. I
Yeah.
understand. I was like, not the pineal gland. Yeah.
Oh, but yeah. Yeah.
If you cut the brain in half.
Okay. Yeah, so when you cut it in half, it looks like an eye. The pineal gland has the same rod and cone structure of a normal eye and is light sensitive. So it is an eye in a
Yeah,
way.
which is why it like works with like sleep-wake cycles.
Yep. And it's also connected to the optic thalami, which our thalamus relays sensory information. So sight, touch, hearing are other clairs in a way. But it's connected to our optic thalami, so our optic meaning like the eye. So it is a literal third eye. So we think of the third eye as like, oh, this little portal in our forehead that opens up and lights up. But like it is a literal third eye that we are referring to, which is really cool. So then we can shift into, so what is the third eye energy center from that perspective, like the chakra? So these notes are really small on here. Let me just get closer with my old lady eyes.
Don't move too much. That's what you did last week.
I know, I'll be wiggling around too much. Oh my goodness. Okay. So our third eye, it's in the center of the forehead between the eyebrows. It represents intuition, foresight, vision, perception, psychic abilities, illumination. I also think it's connected to being able to see a vision for our future. Being able to see like, like this is where I want to go. It's like that clarity of this is where I'm headed next. Being able to see like beyond what is here now and like the potential of where you want to go.
Yeah, I had that written down. Like it loves imagination, and it helps us to not just like hear our, connect with our intuition or with our sleep-wake cycles, but it also helps us to like open up to all beyond like possibilities beyond what we can like see.
Yeah, exactly. It's connected to the element of light. The mantra associated with it is the Om mantra, which you've probably heard before. Stones that are good for your third eye are amethyst, purple fluorite, black obsidian. This says moldavite. Do they mean moldavite? I don't know. Do they? Me. That made the PowerPoint. Like 3 years ago. Like, did they mean moldavite? But it's like all those like purple stones. Purple.
Yes, yeah.
Color
it's like indigo. Whatever indigo
like a
looks
deep purple.
Like. Yeah.
Kind of like purple blue, like very deep color. Let's see. I have all these ways we can connect to it. So essential oils, rosemary, vetiver, frankincense. Frankincense is one of my favorites. Also,
I love
sandalwood. It says sandalwood, juniper, patchouli. Let's see. Oh, this is important. Imbalanced attributes. This is what I always think is really helpful information to understand. So lack of direction and clarity, like we talked about. Feeling stuck, and an overactive third eye may indulge in illusions and fantasies. So I think like this is why I really like to work with the lower chakras, because sometimes I think when we're going through a spiritual awakening. No.
Okay.
I was flipping my hair like this. I didn't see it. What happened? What was it?
I don't know. Something just floated down.
Sometimes when I think we're going through a spiritual awakening, our third eye starts seeing these things. So if you are, and look, I think daydreaming is actually really powerful. It's a way we can manifest. But if you have a hard time with like, you're like, I can daydream, I see such cool things for myself, but I cannot get myself to put roots down in any of these daydreams. Like I cannot take action. I cannot pull them from my mind into this world. Like if that is a struggle for you, that's a sign that like your third eye is overactive, and it would be helpful for you to work on like the root, the sacral, those lower chakras, so you can help. It's like you want to like pull those daydreams down into those more grounded energy centers so you can do something with them, if that makes
Yes.
sense. So
Yeah, I had that
that's
too.
how I've always been like such a daydreamer. And that's why I love to work with my clients on the lower chakras, because that was a big breakthrough for me. I was like, I don't know, I see everything. I see it clearly. I'm delusional. I think I can do this, but I couldn't
Like actually
get
do
in
it.
there.
Yeah. Yeah. I think also like part of what I had written down is that doing the lower chakra work and staying grounded while working with your third eye also helps what comes through from the third eye to feel like safe and reliable.
Yes. That's huge. Safe, reliable, trusting it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get blocked in our third eye. Also, if this is you, it can be a sign that there's like a blocker imbalance. If you question yourself, am I crazy?
Mm-hmm.
Am I crazy? So like when you're like, well, I want to write a best-selling novel. Am I crazy? Am I crazy for thinking that I could do that? That's like a third eye block.
Yeah.
And what I have clients do is, one, try to trace back, like, when was the first time you ever were made to feel crazy for something you wanted to do?
Mm-hmm.
So like for a lot of us, it's just going back to like that age where you were first being asked, like, what do you want to do when you grow up? When we were little, we got to say, I want to be a unicorn, and everyone was like, yeah, sweetie, that's
I
great.
did
But
not.
then maybe around like middle school
I was actually thinking about this earlier today. Sorry not to cut you off. That's so funny that you brought this up. Randomly, this memory popped into my mind like 2 hours ago. When I was really little, like kindergarten, and we did this, and I was like, Mom, I want to be a beach volleyball player. Like, that's what I want to do. I want to be a beach volleyball player. She
I
was
love
like,
that.
that's not realistic and that's not a real job. Choose something else. I was like, okay.
I was gonna make a joke about how you're way too small to do that, but I believe you can do anything. You live by the beach now. You should.
Yeah. Somebody
get
just
on
posted on Facebook and was
for
like,
fun one.
oh, maybe that's why it popped into my head randomly, because I saw it yesterday.
You know
Somebody
what?
yesterday on Facebook posted in like the girls group and was like, does
You
anyone
should
want to be
go.
on a beach volleyball? I was like, me.
Yeah,
I
I
want to
was
do
gonna say you
that.
have to.
Yeah.
Because we might think, yeah, like when you were little, like maybe you were like, I'm gonna be in the fucking Olympics or whatever.
That's what I thought. I was like, this is what I
There's
want to
still
do.
time.
There's still time. There's still time.
When I was little, I wanted to be a witch.
31-year-olds.
I did that.
Well, yeah.
So suck it, everybody. But you know, there was like an age where we got to say, you know, when you're like 4 and you're like, when I grow up, I'm gonna be an astronaut and go to the moon, and everyone's like, great. And then when you get in like middle school and you start taking those like career quizzes and stuff, they're like, you're 12, you have to decide what you're gonna do for the rest of your life.
I know.
It's time to be an adult. You're like, what?
You're like,
and they're like, you need to be realistic. That's what a lot of my clients' memories go back to, is like, it's a lot of times connected to that. And that's a lot of times what most people are caught up in when they're like, I just don't know what I would want to do, but I know I don't want to do this. And I've been there.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing I do with clients when we're working on the third eye is, when was the first time you're made to feel crazy? And just talking to your younger self and being like, that was a sick dream you had. That wasn't crazy. That wasn't unrealistic. And like, how could you honor that now? You could join a fucking beach volleyball team, right?
Yeah.
Or like, you know, if you were like, I wanted to grow up in, I actually wanted to grow up. I was obsessed with, I know J.K. Rowling has aged terribly as the author, but when I was little, I was like, I want to be like her, because I was obsessed with Harry Potter. And now we have to separate the art from the person.
Yeah.
It's a whole world beyond her. But, you know, so, and I've been thinking about that. I was like, you know, when I was little, I was like, I'm going to write these books. I was like, I write a ton, but I was like, I need to write some fiction. Like, that's what little me wanted to do. And she wanted to be a witch. I did that.
Yeah.
So it's like, how can you honor those things in some way? Bring that into your life, but really just validating and being like, no, like, here's all the reasons why that's not crazy. People do that. People, whatever.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, go ahead.
I mean, it is healthy to have like some level of like, okay, how can I realistically do this?
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
But like, let yourself kind of be silly
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah. So it's that. And then
I say with my
also,
sparkly shirt every time I move.
I love it. And then also, finding positive proof of times that your intuition was right.
Mm-hmm.
So you weren't crazy. You were right.
Yeah.
Even though it
I
didn't make
keep a note of
sense.
it in my phone.
Yeah. So
Like
if
my
I'm doing
miracle thing I think I talked about last week.
Yeah. So if I'm doing a third eye session with somebody, we go through at least three to five times where I'm like, whether you trusted it or not, but you have proof that your intuition was right. Maybe you went against it and it fucked you over, but it's still proof that your intuition was right. Like that,
Mm-hmm.
even then it counts.
Yeah.
Right. So that's how you kind of, you bring that energy center back into balance. You unblock it, you activate it further. Is like, those are my best tools for that. But my favorite thing to learn about when it comes to the pineal gland is the history behind it, because this is crazy. And this, to me, is absolute proof that it is spiritual, because it has been the pine cone has been a sacred symbol throughout history in almost every culture around the world. You can find it in art. You can find it in temples and architecture, on statues. And once we talk about this, you're going to see it everywhere. When I went to and it's in all the different religions too. Like it's always
Mm-hmm.
represented. When I was in Asia, going to temples all over in different countries, all of them have pine cones on everything, on the tops of the temples, on the tops of, think about the Buddha and the bun that's represented on the, I know there's bald ones too, but you know, the statues where there's the bun that, and they're like, it's like the design on it looks like a pine cone almost. Guess what that represents? There's if you look up the Egyptian staff of Osiris, there's like two serpents rising up, and then there's a pine cone, and those serpents are Kundalini energy, which you know, we could talk about at a different time, but they're rising up to meet the pine cone, our pineal gland. Yeah, the Buddhists, they've shaped their hair into the pine cone shape. It's everywhere. The craziest one to me, in Catholic traditions, there's the coat of arms of the Holy See. I'm looking at the pictures now because when I taught this class, it was like a PowerPoint. But in the coat of arms, there's 3 crowns stacked to form a pine cone shape. The Pope's staff has a pine cone on it as well. And there's a huge sculpture of a pine cone in the Vatican City. It's just a big ass pine cone in like a square. It's just the pine cone. Even the Catholics are in on this pine cone business. They're
well,
like,
I had
yeah.
an excerpt from the Bible too.
Oh, hell yeah. Give it to us. Lay it on us, Pam.
I didn't know if this could be, a little bit of a stretch, but I don't know how you're supposed to read the numbers, but it's Matthew 6:22. And it says, the lamp of the body is the eye. Therefore, if thine eye be single, thy body shall be full of light. And it just talks about like one eye.
Oh.
One eye. And like how, like if your eye, like the one eye, and then your whole body is filled with light.
Yeah.
I just thought it was interesting.
It's interesting. It's interesting.
Interesting.
It's in the Bible. There's in Greek and Roman history, Dionysus or Bacchus, depicted carrying a staff topped with a pine cone. There's a Mexican goddess, I'm gonna say maybe wrong, Chico Micotl, depicted offering pine cones in one hand and an evergreen tree in the other. It's like in cultures everywhere across the world, which to me just goes like I love this stuff. And some of my favorite classes like I would take growing up were just like, because I went to Catholic school and stuff, and they do some teachings about like other religions and stuff, and there's just so much crossing each other at a time when there was no
communication.
There was no connection. So it's like, to me, that's just so clearly spiritual. We're downloading this information. Let's see, I have more examples. Ancient Assyrian carvings depict a four-winged godlike figure using a pine cone to pollinate the tree of life. Ow, I saw those in the museum in New York. I have a picture of it. I'm like, wait, I just saw those. I think they were copies. They recreated them, but they're using a pine cone to...
A replica?
A replica? How could I forget that word? Oh, it's just a replica. It's just a replica. Oh, yeah. What? He said replica, Pam. Stop making him say a word he can't say. For the love of God.
I couldn't hear him. Literally couldn't hear him.
I was like, is she fucking with me right now? No. Oh, it's just a replica. No, I know.
You know when you're like trying to hear something and like it literally sounds like someone has put their hands over your ears? Like, I couldn't hear.
Oh my God, that's so funny. And then, the Indian deity Kundalini depicted the coiled serpents rising up to meet the pineal of the pine cone.
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
I saw something too about I can never say this word correctly, and I'm really sorry, everybody. The caduceus? Do you know what I'm talking about? Like the staff? Like the health. What I'm talking about? Is that right? How do you say it?
I've never heard that word before in my life. I didn't know. But I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I know the picture. Tell us.
Caduceus.
Show.
Caduceus. Yeah, that was right.
Caduceus.
That's my favorite feature on Google. So that tells me how to say words.
Love.
Because I'm also a little dyslexic, so sometimes I don't know if I'm saying the word correctly because I can't read it. Well, like, I'm mixing up letters.
That it's 3:33 on the clock right now.
Not for me.
Excuse me. I remember the first time I realized via the internet, got it, that you can spot a kid that was obsessed with reading that is now an adult.
Oh, I think we talked about this.
They say common words wrong. Yeah.
Like in How I Met Your Mother.
Most of that out of the way nowadays, but sometimes I'm like, because you're just little and you're like, I don't know, you kind of know what it means out of context in the story, but you don't know how to say it, and then you're just like, well, I'm gonna keep going. I don't have time to stop and ask. Like, I don't care. I'm
gonna finish this chapter
story right now.
That's like in How I Met Your Mother. Ted pronounces chameleon as chameleon.
Chameleon. Exactly. That's such a good example. I've read Hermione as like Hermione or something for most of the books until the movies came out, and then I was like, what? And it was really hard to adjust because I was just making it up.
I do that all the time. Like when you start reading ACOTAR, his name is Rhysand. I hate that. No thank you. His name is
Rhysand.
Yeah.
That's how I see it typed out on the internet. I've never heard anyone say it out loud, actually.
Rhysand.
It's Rhysand?
No. Hate that. Wrong.
No, wrong.
Wrong. The author said that that's how it's pronounced. I don't care. Wrong. She's
wrong. You don't
know
anything. She's wrong.
She's wrong.
She doesn't know anything.
His name is Riz, not Reese.
Riz. I like it.
Yeah.
Riz.
I don't like that. Huh. Yeah. That's like a thing. That's like a running joke in like fantasy book worlds because the words are so ridiculous that you read them and everyone pronounces them differently. And you're like, that's not how that's pronounced.
What do you mean? What are you talking about?
You're wrong.
That's so funny. Okay, back to the third eye. Okay, so then I have notes about opening the third eye because we talk a lot about opening, or we hear a lot about opening the third eye. So this is what I have on my notes. It can feel like an abstract concept. But it's, it's an organ in our body. So thinking about we like, obviously, like we think of opening our third eye or activating it with like meditation. I do tapping a lot for my third eye of like, let me just like build trust in this or release any doubt I have in it. That's a good tool.
Same.
But in a like physical sense, if I don't know, I grew up in a sort of hippie household, so my mom instilled in me to think a lot about like the physical health aspects of this kind of stuff too. So the fact that it's not protected by the blood-brain barrier is a very special, like, different, it's a part of our brain, but most of our brain is protected by the blood-brain barrier. The pineal gland is not. So it receives a significant amount of blood flow and can act like a magnet for toxins in the body. And you might have heard of calcification. So calcium deposits form on the pineal gland. And so you will, like, it's called decalcification for your third eye. And this is important because it does affect your circadian rhythms and stuff also. But it's also said to, you know, when you're opening your third eye in a spiritual sense to like the decalcification. So I feel like this is kind of a hot topic because then what gets connected to this a lot is fluoride and like, oh, like fluoride, you know, that's what causes calcification of your pineal gland, all this stuff. So it's kind of a hot topic, I think. This is so interesting, and this is how you got to be mindful in anything, how you Google stuff, because if you Google, so it's like the confirmation bias, you know, it's how you word things. So I always say, do your own research, trust your own decisions. If you want to use fluoride, that's fine. You can still have a strong intuition. Don't worry about it. Okay. Don't stress about that. But, if you Google like, is fluoride good? It'll tell you all the reasons why it's good. But if you Google, is fluoride bad? It'll tell you all the reasons that are bad, which is fascinating.
Yeah. But I think that's just in like the AI section.
This is from way before AI. I made this 3 years ago. No, it's not. No, I made all this. I did this research years and years ago before that was a thing. But so I find this stuff
word
interesting.
it correctly.
Well, there's just a lot of studies that prove both things, and the fact of it is that there's positive things to it and there's negative things to it. Both are
That's
true.
what I mean. You just have to word your question correctly. Like,
yeah, well, there's proof on both sides. So however you answer. So I just mean like ways. In general. Like,
but
it is considered a neurotoxin. It inhibits the synthesis of melatonin. And here's the it's linked to the calcification of the pineal gland. The benefits: it does help with tooth decay, and it helps to remineralize your teeth. It's good for your teeth. It's really good for that. But it's linked to an increased risk of neurodegenerative diseases. I have Alzheimer's and dementia in my family. I'm really scared of getting it, so I am a fluoride-free girly because I'm going to do whatever it takes to not have those things. And I also have really good teeth. I've never had a cavity, and I stopped using fluoride, and I still don't. But if you're someone that gets a lot of cavities, probably still use it because it is good for that. You know what I mean? It's like we have to find our balance, and we can't all do everything. Yeah. A what deficiency?
Calcium deficiency.
Oh, okay. But yeah. So there's positive and negatives to it, but it's a hot topic when it comes to the third eye. And it does contribute to the calcium deposits there. But like I said, it doesn't mean that if you use like fluoride, you can't be intuitive. It's not true at all.
No.
But there is a connection, and there's a reason for that connection. So if that's something that you're like, I feel like I want to learn more about that, do your own research, I always say. But it's something that I am always interested in these things. I like to go down the rabbit hole. I have a whole thing about decalcifying it. If you're interested in that stuff, you can ask me. I'll send it to you. We won't get into it now. But other ways besides that, you can open your third eye. Of course, meditation, yoga. Here's something really important. Nurturing your circadian rhythm with natural light as soon as you wake up and sleeping in complete dark. That's really important. So waking up, and if you can go like hang out in front of a window, like first thing when you wake up, that's really good.
Yeah.
Pranayama and other breath work, really great. You can even like stimulate it, put your crystals on there while you meditate. Chanting the Om, that opens, activates, nurtures the third eye. I love a third eye opener on YouTube. Anytime I do a reading, I always turn it on in the background. Just type in like third eye opener frequencies on like YouTube or Spotify.
There's one linked in my tarot freebie.
Oh, nice. Yeah, there's lots of good ones. So those are my what are things that I do. I meditate every day. I'm a meditator. I do drink my coffee right in front of a window to try to help with the natural light thing. And I love breath work. Those are my things that I do for, I don't really think of them as for my third eye, but when I'm like looking at this list, I'm like, those are the things that definitely I do to
that can
that are
help
connected
that.
to that. Yeah. What about you?
I don't like meditating, so I definitely don't do that. But I guess I meditate in different ways, like a different way. You do it when you walk, even if you are just like on a walk or something, and obviously with caution, especially if you are a lady, and you're wearing headphones and you're by yourself, just be careful. But I like wearing my headphones and putting on frequency music when I go on a walk, trying to leave my phone in my pocket. I will never not take my phone with me on a walk because of safety reasons.
Yeah.
But so I'm not going to tell you to do that, but just leave it in your bag or in your pocket or something and just put some frequency music on. That's kind of how I will meditate, like a walking meditation. And I do EFT tapping, like Sadie mentioned, for my third eye.
Oh yeah, that's really
just
good.
kind
Yeah,
of
I do
like
that every
trusting
day
my
too.
intuition in general. But I also do like breath work, even if it's just like 1 minute a day. What you can do is like when you wake up in the morning or when you just like have a second, literally for 1 minute, like you could set a timer on your phone for just 1 minute. Like breathe in deeply through the nose, out through the mouth, and you can imagine like where your third eye would be, an indigo light. Like colored light, and like as you're like breathing in, it's like expanding and growing and getting bigger, and then when you breathe out, it kind of like, rescinds and like comes back in, and then you're just like kind of imagining that like in and out of the light. And then just kind of like really bringing your focus there, connecting the breath work with third eye focus. And you could do that while repeating an affirmation connected to that, or you can do like an affirmation afterwards, or you could not also. And then another cool way to work with the pineal gland or the third eye is before bedtime, setting like a bedtime dream intention. Like, okay, I'm open to receiving messages in my sleep. Like, I kind of like to set the intention too of like, okay, help me remember when I wake up.
Yeah.
That way you're not like waking up from a dream and being like, what the hell? I know
happened?
something happened, but I don't
What the
remember.
hell?
So, and then writing down what you remember, even if it's like you don't fully remember it, even if you're just like, I remember this feeling, I remember this color, this smell, any kind of things that you can remember.
Yeah. Okay, I'm looking at my final notes on this. I wrote, this is with everything, right? You don't need to hyper focus or obsess over your third eye.
Yes.
You are already intuitive. You're already activated. You're already doing amazing things for your third eye. And I already briefly mentioned this, but we can get really obsessed with the third eye, but the alignment of our whole energy system, all of the chakras, really supports our pineal gland, supports our third eye being open and active, and us being able to trust and actually live by that beautiful clarity and vision that we have.
Exactly.
So really, like, when we live our life doing things that feel good and are good for us, that supports every part of our energy system. That supports our third eye. When we get good sleep, especially because it's connected to that. So it's like I think like there have been moments in my spiritual journey where I was like, I have to do everything. And I do have a pretty extensive morning routine, but I don't obsess over it like I'm gonna have a bad day if I don't do it now, right? I'm much more like loose about it. But like it's like, okay, do you not feel good? What do you need to do to feel good? Great. That's your spiritual practice.
Yeah.
That's
That's what
gonna
I always
activate your
say.
intuition.
Yeah. I
That's
always say
gonna
that.
yeah. So
Like
like we talked
doing,
about last week, it's like you have the power to shift your energy. You have the power to move through these things. If you feel like you're stuck and you feel like, no, they're lying. I'm not intuitive. I don't have any intuition. You're lying, bitch. Tap in. Do things that make you feel good, that light you up. Pay attention to what we mentioned about signs that it's imbalanced or blocked. I don't like the word blocked. It's more of an imbalance, really.
yeah.
And go from
Even
there.
like opening, like I said before, like it's already open and available
Mm-hmm.
to you. It's about like kind of clearing out whatever is like cluttering it,
Mm-hmm.
that limiting beliefs, the like thinking that you, I mean, these are all limiting beliefs, like any kind of limiting belief, like that
Mm-hmm.
is kind of um cluttering you from connecting with it. But it's more about
Mm-hmm.
like kind of like inviting it to work
Mm-hmm.
with you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, I think like if we talked about signs of an imbalance, and if you were like, but what are signs that it is balanced? I feel like when you recognize synchronicities, when you experience deja vu, when you're seeing a lot of signs or having like mystical experiences, it's like you're able to see beyond or experience beyond the physical, right? That's like that, oh yeah, I am connected to something beyond myself, beyond the spiritual. Yeah, strong intuition is a sign, right? That it's balanced. So you can also don't just search for the imbalances, give yourself credit for what's there. If you experience a lot of synchronicities in your life, hell yeah. Pat on
Yeah.
the back. I'm balanced. Look at that. Look at
Mm-hmm.
me. So I always think that's good to recognize too, because we can always be searching for what do I need to fix next? What's blocked now? What is this? What is this? So let's all pause and give ourselves some credit. Go, oh shit, I must be pretty activated because this, and that. I've been seeing angel numbers all day. Um, so
And
oh,
also,
okay.
like, when you see the angel numbers, kind of like you can work with it too by like leaning in to, okay, what was I just thinking about?
Mm-hmm.
What was I just worrying about? What was I like excited about when I saw these angel numbers? And kind of then
Yeah.
like leaning into trying to get what that like message was from the angel numbers.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is if anyone wants to try this is my um go-to meditation for working with my third eye specifically. Currently, I work a lot with like my sacral and root, but when I'm doing third eye work for myself, this is what I like to envision. And it actually, you brought up the movie Inside Out. It's similar to that. Okay. So that's kind of the visual of like, there's like a room in my brain with a bunch of like dials and levers. So I do a meditation where I visualize going into my brain, and the pineal gland is like this little like glowing like core of like energy, and there's all these dials and levers around it. And I go in there and like, and there's like a mainframe, like you can type things into it and stuff. So I imagine I can go in there and I can like type in like new codes. I can be like, okay, this is a new belief I have. This is a new reality, right? Or I can like turn up the dial on my intuition, or turn up the
Yeah.
dial on my confidence, or I go in there a lot and I turn up the dial on my focus because your girl struggles to focus. And I can turn down the dial. There's a side of my little room where I'm like, oh, shoot, the dial got bumped for my anxiety. I got to turn that back down. Oh, somebody bumped it. Now it's all high. Okay, we're just going to turn that dial down. feeling like restless or unsatisfied or frustrated. So I imagine there's like this room that's surrounding my pineal gland that's like, I gotta hack into the mainframe and do all that. And that's one of my favorite ways that I personally like to connect and feel like I'm doing work in that energy center. But just remember, like, there's science behind your pineal gland. There's throughout time, throughout history, every culture, every religion, it's very clear that we're naturally intuitive beings. You were literally made this way. You have a physical organ in your body that made you intuitive and made you powerful and made you tuned in, tapped in, turned on to your spiritual connection. And so this is just an innate part of you. It's not something some people are blessed with. Yeah, some people are naturally more gifted at basketball. Some people are naturally more connected to their intuition, of course, but it's something we can all connect to, nurture, build our trust in, strengthen, almost like a muscle. It's absolutely 100% available to all of us.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's what I got.
Alrighty.
You got anything else for us, Pam?
Well, I think you kind of covered it, so.
You're like, really. No further questions.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of said everything I wanted to say, so that's it.
Beautiful. Alrighty. Well, that's our third eye in the pineal gland. Woo, we did it.
Yay.
We did it. We will let us know if you want to do more episodes on other energy centers, but I especially love learning about this one just because there is all the science backing our actual organ in our brain. It's so cool.
Yeah.
So make sure you're tuning in to Giggly Witches on YouTube, Apple, or Spotify and clicking that subscribe button wherever you like to tune in. And leave us a review if you're on Spotify or Apple. I've seen a few on there, so thank you to those of you who have taken the time. It means so much to us. You have no idea.
Yes.
And you can find us on TikTok and Instagram as well.
Yes, at Giggly Witches.
At Giggly Witches. You can find me at I am Sadie Olson on Instagram and TikTok. Magic with Sadie on YouTube. I think I have an intuition tapping on there if you want to try it. I probably do. Now I'm trying to think. I think there's an intuition one on there. But I have tapping, meditations, spells, classes, all sorts of goodies on there for you. And I'm adding more soon. And right now you can get my free scripting guide in the link. We will be doing our next coven meeting, which will be, I'm calling it the Creatrix Portal. We're going to be doing channeled art or, channeled creativity in whatever form that takes for you together on, I believe it's the 12th. So come join us in that. That's a new thing. And we meet every new month to do scripting for the month ahead. And it's so fun and so powerful. And we do spells and all sorts of fun stuff. We tap together. So come check out the Coven. And I'm also doing power hour sessions where I use the chakra system to help identify where you have imbalances or blocks. And we work through them and clear them. It's very powerful. So we could do your third eye or intuition. We can explore other blocks that pop up like fear, guilt, shame, anxiety, worry, all that good stuff. And I also I have a couple spaces for longer term private mentorship for anyone who's interested. So if that's something you're interested in, it's all the links to learn more about those things are in my show notes, and my DMs are always open to answer any questions. So Pam, what do you got going on?
Amazing. You can find me on TikTok and Instagram at Velvet Snake Oracle. I've got mediumship readings, and I'm really, really excited about those. They're psychic mediumship sessions where we can tune into your loved ones, or we can tune into your spirit team and kind of get some guidance for you from them. And I've also got, I was supposed to post about it today, but they went so fast. I feel like I woke up
I
2
also
hours
felt
ago.
that way. I didn't sleep in crazy late, but I guess later than
I
I
didn't
normally
either.
do. Like 9:30. I usually am up around like 8. So I
Yeah.
mean, but I was like, where'd the day go? I usually
So
also don't
fast.
take clients before this, and I did. So maybe
Yeah.
that's why, but
But I am doing in this like, liminal space of spring and summer, doing these death and rebirth tarot sessions. So there's like 2 options that we can do for this. So in both of the options, we will do a tarot reading where we will, really like explore and uncover like what needs to be released, what we need to, the death part of this, and then work on like uncovering new, fresh, fun energy
funky fresh.
Yeah, to replace that and get you into like living a real, like authentic and liberated and like really just unapologetically like weird and whimsical you full life, and just get guidance on like kind of how to let go what needs to be let go of and bring in what will help you uncover like all this new goodness.
Yeah,
And the like second option for that is to do the tarot reading and an energy healing on top of that. So once we kind of uncover all of that cool goodness that needs to be let go of, that death part, we will do an energy healing, kind of like as Sadie once explained it. Like it felt like a spiritual bath,
sink bath,
and yeah, a sink bath. And
I can attest to how powerful that was. And book the energy cleanse with it.
Thank you.
You'll thank me and yourself later.
Yeah. It'll just like help pull out that stuck energy, or if there's anything that's a little stubborn, or if you're like, well, I've been trying to release this. We can kind of get in there and nudge it free.
Scrub it out.
Yeah. So that's, and then I also just have like regular general tarot readings. And if you want to work on working with your third eye, download my tarot freebie. It's a really, really great way to just kind of like build that relationship with your pineal gland, with your third eye. And it does have one of my, like the literal third eye activation I use in all of my readings. It's linked in the PDF.
Yay.
Yeah.
Woohoo. All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening. Make sure you're subscribed and share this with a friend. Share this with your favorite giggly witch so we can all be friends. We love you guys. Stay giggly, witches.
Bye.
Bye.